Hi there, I have a new lactofermentation recipe for you today. And I suppose in the fermentation world, this recipe could be regarded as uncommon. We're going to ferment cabbage and turn it into an Asian slaw with a homemade peanut ginger dressing. It's a probiotic salad that is sinfully delicious. With this recipe, I am stepping outside of the traditional fermentation recipe box and I'm coloring outside the lines. Want to be a rebel with me and dare to be different? Let's dive in. This recipe will make 1 pint jar. Let's get started by prepping the saltwater brine. We're going to need 1/2 cup of warm water, and the warm water will help the salt dissolve. Avoid using chlorinated water because the chlorine actually kills bacteria, and plus it's just not that good for you. Use a distilled, purified, spring, or well water. Those will all work better for fermentation. Add 1/4 teaspoon salt to the water. Then give it a good stir to help it dissolve. Now, I don't recommend using a table salt because it has bleaching agents, anti-caking agents, added iodine, and it's been stripped of all of its mineral content as well. Instead, use a natural salt. My two favorite types of salt are a Celtic sea salt and a pink Himalayan salt. I actually did a video comparing the two salts, their similarities and their differences from their origins, harvesting methods, and their mineral content. It's pretty interesting in my opinion, so I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. Now we're going to prep the vegetables. To start, we'll need 4 cups of shredded cabbage, which is about the yield from 1 small cabbage. Before you start slicing it, first remove the outer leaves and set aside. We'll use those outer leaves later. If you have a little less or a little more cabbage, no worries, use whatever you have. This is a flexible recipe. A relatively thin cut like this will work best. Place it in a large bowl. Next, add 1/4 cup finely chopped or thinly sliced carrot, 1/4 cup chopped red bell pepper, and 3/4 cup loosely packed cilantro. Set the bowl of veggies aside while we make the peanut ginger dressing. For the dressing, a blender will work best, and a smaller blender cup will be even better. Now, if you don't have a blender, no worries, just whisk the ingredients together in a bowl the best you can. First, give the brine a last-minute stir as to stir up any salt that is settled. Pour it into the blender cup. Next, add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm using this organic wheat-free soy sauce, but just use what you have. Now add 1/3 cup peanut butter powder. I'm using a peanut butter powder because it has a wonderful peanut flavor and considerably less fat and sugar. If you don't have the peanut butter powder, no worries, just use the smooth or the crunchy peanut butter that you have in your cabinet. And use 1/4 cup. Add 1 teaspoon of honey. If you're not a honey person, you can add 1 teaspoon of unbleached cane sugar instead. And just a side note here, if you are using a peanut butter from your cabinet and that peanut butter has added sugar, then skip the honey or skip the added granulated sugar. Now add 1 tablespoon of fresh grated ginger. Next, 1/2 to 3/4 teaspoon of lemon juice. And lastly, 1 teaspoon granulated garlic or garlic powder. Blend the dressing mixture at the highest speed until well incorporated. Now when you taste test this dressing, it's going to taste heavy on the salt and light on the tangy from the lemon juice. That's okay. Don't worry about the saltiness because during the fermentation process, that saltiness is going to be dialed way down. And resist the urge to add any more lemon juice because also during the fermentation process, that tanginess is going to be dialed up. So the salt flavor will get milder and the tanginess will get stronger. Flavors will change during the fermentation process, so you're okay if you think it's a little unbalanced at this point in time. Tomorrow, day 2, day 3, it's going to be perfect. Pour the dressing over the vegetables and give it a toss to incorporate. While the vegetables marinate a bit in that peanut ginger dressing, this is a great opportunity to do a little cleanup, and we're also going to toast the peanuts. I don't have a specific measurement for the peanuts, just however many you want. These are raw peanuts, but use what you have just so long as the skin is off. Toss them in an ungreased pan on medium-low heat. I'm using a ceramic pan, but use what you have. The peanuts are going to turn a light brown color, and keep an eye on them because they can brown quickly. The peanuts are being added solely for flavor, and personally I like their texture as well. But if you don't want peanuts, leave them out. Once they're toasted, add them to the vegetable bowl and give it another toss. Time to pack the cabbage into the jar. Be sure your jar is freshly washed with hot soapy water. We're going to pack the Asian slaw in layers. So take a handful with your freshly washed clean hands and stuff it into the jar. Then take a mallet or something similar and press the mixture down, pressing out the air gaps. Take another handful and do the same. You can also use your knuckles to work it down as well. You want that juice coming up and over the cabbage salad mixture. Fill the jar to about here, or maybe a little less to avoid overflow later during the fermentation process. Be sure not to let any leftover yumminess go to waste. Use the remainder as a salad, noodle, or rice dressing. Now, to hold the mixture down under the liquid, add one of those cabbage leaves from earlier. They fit in tightly and help hold the vegetables down. We don't want them floating up later. You may choose to use a fermenting weight in addition. It's your call depending on how well the cabbage leaf is holding. Today I'm using a glass weight that I got off of Amazon, but no worries if you don't have one. You can use a super well-washed, clean rock like this. I did this for years actually. You'll even see it in some of my earlier fermentation videos. Then place a coffee filter over the top, which allows the gases to release while keeping debris out. The jar ring holds it in place. You could also use a rubber band. And the nice thing is, if you are using a rock as a weight, the coffee filter fits easily over the top of that too. Place on the counter at room temperature for 2 to 3 days. Maximum 3 days for this specific recipe. To catch any possible overflow, place it on a plate. Let's take a look at this one I've had going already for 3 days. It looks great. I'm going to remove the weight and the cabbage leaf, get my fork in there, a little taste test. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah, it's good. For storage, place a regular lid on top, then transfer it to the fridge. You can start diving into this ferment on day 2. You don't have to wait the full 3 days. But I do recommend finish eating it by day 5 or 6 at the latest. Because with a traditional lacto fermentation, like a vegetable solely in a water salt brine solution, they can ferment much longer on the countertop and last weeks, months, and even years in proper cool storage like a root cellar or a refrigerator. But due to the honey and the peanut butter in this recipe, that sugar is going to feed the lactobacteria and super accelerate the fermentation rate. The tanginess is going to increase rapidly versus gradually, and quickly can become too strong. Now, in my opinion, the tanginess is great from days 2 to 5 and begins to get out of balance on days 6, 7, and more, but that's just to my taste preference. But hey, if super tangy is your thing and that strong fermentation flavor is up your alley, then enjoy as long as you want past that 6-day mark. Hey, so did you know that the sour from fermenting and the sour from pickling come from 2 different sour sources? They're different. If you want to learn a little more about the differences between pickling and fermenting, then check out this video right here. And if you want to learn more about the differences and similarities between Celtic sea salt and pink Himalayan salt, both of which are fantastic for fermenting, then check out this video right here. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you be a part of my channel, Clean Food Living. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.